amazing, talented, one-of-a-kind producer. Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Zero.
Absolutely, brother.
Mondo.
We've been trying to get this interview with you for like a while.
I know.
It isn't like
welcome.
oh, let's go get DJ. It's like, when can he come? Cause
Funny thing is that Mondo hit me up a bunch of times, and every
Absolutely.
time.
Can you put the mic as close to
Yeah,
your
my bad.
mouth as possible? It's okay.
Yeah, Mondo hit me up a bunch of times, and every time like he hit me up that there was a date available, like
Yeah.
I was already booked for something, you know.
Absolutely.
Like, I was going out of town, or I had a gig or something, you know what I mean? So,
Well, you know, Zero was always telling me, yo, we got to book DJ Warlock One.
Yeah.
Right, Zero?
Yeah, I thought, look, in the LA underground, hip hop scene, I have a pleasure of watching people grow up in this thing. You know what I mean? Not that I watched him because we were at the same time, but to see DJ Warlock One where he is right now and the people he's worth mess with, like, Jag. You did Azamatli too, right? Yeah. Azamatli. He's done Me, right? Doctrine of Discovery, which was a massive.
Yeah, shout out to Jag and Asamali, man. Barely recently we started working on some stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just the start of more projects to come,
Absolutely. Well, see, this is the thing, is that me and Armando are trying to put together somewhat of a category of artists that are known as indigenous hip hop artists, right? Like people that come from this continent, people that understand the migration routes and knowing how to live in a different environment other than their home environment, but still understanding, the sacredness of Mother Earth and all that stuff. So not necessarily that you have to talk about that or rap about that or any of that. I'm just saying that indigenous voices have a huge voice here. And in our category, in our world, in our mundo, you're one of the top producers.
And I feel honored to be here today, to be honest with you. Like, I've dreamed of this moment, being in the Alienated podcast,
Wow.
since it came out. And, I'm a big fan of the podcast, as a matter of fact. I do listen to it, not live, because, it just, the time that you guys come out, I might be at work or something, but I do go back to the channel and then watch,
Thanks, bro.
listen, it's, I love it, like I love what you're doing. I love what you talk about. I love the way that, you approach things.
Yeah.
Like you don't really approach them in a way that, like a one-sided way, a lot of other people do.
Yeah.
Like you try to, hit that middle ground before you actually, give your opinion, so.
Absolutely. Armando, you know how I say that Conejo's like the Mexican Nas?
Absolutely.
Well, you know who the indigenous DJ Premier is? This brother right here.
Absolutely. And I feel the same way.
He's that guy. He's that level.
Me being...
Thank you, Zero. I appreciate that, man. Like
I'm going to tell you why.
That's a compliment.
I'm going to tell you why.
That's a
I'm not going to
compliment.
just tell you because you know how to produce on the old machines.
Mm-hmm.
Those old machines trigger different.
Yeah.
Their compression to the keyboard is different. Your timing is different, which prepares you to master the new digital world. Right, where you're just pulling up beats and samples are really cut really nice, and so that's why I feel like you are the indigenous version of
Thank
DJ
you.
Premier.
Yeah, I mean, I still, to this day, I still mess around with old school samplers or, like samplers from the 80s, like the Ensoniq EPS,
Yes.
the Ensoniq ASR10.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're hearing right here is the EPS, the Ensoniq EPS.
Okay.
And one thing that about this sampler is the whole 36 chambers was produced on the EPS.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So
It
that's
has
why it
a
has
certain
that,
grittiness
yeah.
to it. There's like the way you store samples now in a clean digital form was not the way you used to store samples
Yeah.
on those.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about samplers, it's already digital. You know, like
Right.
even from the '80s, it's already digital. You know, the only thing is that the storage back then was a lot harder than it is now. You know,
Right.
back then you couldn't really store gigabytes of samples in your machine. You could only do like on a floppy disk. Probably
Right.
you could hold like 7-10 seconds of audio,
Right.
and that was your beat looped.
Well, my first
what I mean?
Jaguar Prophecies was produced on a Korg Triton, and so I had to use floppy disks to
Floppy
store.
disks, yeah.
Sometimes it would take 3 floppy disks for the
Just for one beat, right?
for one beat.
Yeah, and then that's the word they used to record too, like multi-track, right?
Yeah.
Like your songs and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just imagine having that amount of space to work on a song, and then like you run out, like I don't know where you just run out of space,
Yeah,
and then that's it. Like, that's it for you. You can't really. I mean, you have to erase something to create something new.
Absolutely.
Or, I mean,
yeah. You're
get
limited.
a brand new disc.
Yeah, you're limited to the creativity with those. That was the one thing about creating that Jaguar Prophecies album was the limitation in samples. Like you had to be, oh, this one's too long, it's not fitting, I don't want to put two. And then, oh, how about this? You have half the beat on one and half the beat on the other, and you lose one,
Yeah, exactly. Or it gets corrupted.
or it gets corrupted.
Yeah.
Exactly, and now that beat's gone.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's still happening to me to this day with the EPS because the EPS uses floppy, and like nowadays you can't really get floppies. Like on Amazon you can get like some floppies, but they're expensive. And I mean, I do order floppies here and there just whenever I'm working on a new project that I want to use the EPS exclusively for.
That's what I'm talking about, though.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of a production or a producer, a lot of fools just get stuck with either editing sound waves and putting them together cleverly, or I told my son wants to get into making beats. I told him you need to go buy an MPC 1000 or MPC 2000.
Yeah.
Learn there, because that's going to prepare you for the digital world that they created for you.
Right.
If you can get that, you'll understand the concepts of going into the software mode and having all the power you need.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, he might not have to go all the way back to MPC 1000. I mean, he can get like a controller and a computer, and still like treat it as an MPC because MPC has that thing where even though they have a dope ass software that that they're putting out and they update it like all the time, their software and their hardware is still like integrated like in a way that you don't even have to look at the computer to produce if you're using a controller like the
Yeah.
MPC.
That's
yeah.
what I wanted him to do is look at the controller. Don't look
Exactly.
at the screen,
Yeah.
because that's kind of deceiving,
Right.
in my
Yeah,
the way
I mean
look
that's a whole controversy about like between producers and artists and engineers like the computer versus the hardware. I mean like that's been going on for years, and we could touch on it and we could talk about it, and then I don't know if people's gonna start commenting about. I mean, if there isn't engineers that prefer hardware over software. I mean, it's a whole war out there.
It's kind of
about
like
that.
analog and digital, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
going to claim that analog sound is way better than the digital sound.
Yeah.
Or someone that goes, oh, I press my music on vinyl, and that music is uncomparable to CDs
Yeah.
or MP3s or
Right.
whatever. But now we know your talent. How did you get here, DJ? How did you get to Las Aslan? How did you get to LA natives?
I got here via bus.
Yeah.
And then across the border, inside the.
Oh, okay. So what's the original? Where you started off? Where though?
I was born in Ishimuleo.
Ishimuleo.
Yeah, that's the region in like Mesoamerica, like Central America. I'm Guatemalan born.
Nice.
So around 1990,
Guatemalan.
yeah, 1995. I was 10 years old, and that's when my mom decided to bring me out. And
So you had to travel through
Mexico.
Guatemala, and then through Mexico. So it's not just one border you cross.
Across the two borders. I crossed the border into Mexico and then crossed all of Mexico and then I crossed the border.
And what
from
year?
Mexico.
And what year was that?
That was
you went?
95.
95.
95, yeah.
Wow.
I was 10 years old and then
What amazing! I think people don't understand how hard that is to do.
yeah.
And to get here in the hopes of doing your dream, dude. Look at your dream.
Yeah. Well, I mean at that age you
Yeah,
really don't have any dreams yet or you don't really think about the future. You're just a kid.
Yeah.
You're just a kid and then you know, I mean, at that time, you know, there was a lot of shit happening over there. You know, poverty. You know, I mean, lack of funds, lack of work. You know what I mean? You know, my parents were not in the best terms.
Right.
You know what I mean? My mother was a single mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She had already been here before. You know, so she had been here about 4 years. So she left us, me and my two brothers. She left us out there with my grandma. You know,
Yeah.
so my grandma, rest in peace. You know what I mean? You know, she's my second mother. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I learned so much from my grandma. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, that, you know, she's my second mother, and you know, and all that knowledge that she gave me, like I'm gonna, you know, pass it down to the next generations.
Absolutely.
Because it's sacred. You know,
Yeah.
it's sacred knowledge. That
Absolutely. That
And,
love, that type of love, I experienced that type of love with my grandmother. Like, and it's a love that's like, it's unmatched, right? You know, because to see yourself, like you have your child, you love your child, but then to see your child have a child that kind of resembles you, or you have that, a part of that life, I could imagine how the bond between you and your grandma,
Yeah.
and then how difficult that was to, you know, grow up, because people want a better life,
right.
and they'll do almost anything to get it, and travel through dangerous places just to get here.
I gotta give it to my mom's, man, because my mom's the one that really, you know, she's responsible for DJ Warlock One actually even existing. You know what I mean? Like even being here today. You know, like my mom's. You know,
Absolutely.
she's the one that actually, you know, made the trip out here. She came out here. She made some, you know, little bit of money. Went back to get us, get me and my brothers. You know, and to, you know, to give us a better life. You know, I mean, that's what, you know, that's the dream that's sold to us. You know,
Right.
to everybody out there.
Right.
In Latin America, you know what I mean?
And so now that you're an adult, did you feel like, I'm not talking about your mom's effort to give you a better life, that because that's something different. You know, when you come from extreme poverty, that's almost anything goes. Let's get them to the safest place. That's the way it was with me. I mean, I grew up very poor, and so I was a workaholic to get my family out of the environments that I grew up in, right? The very dangerous environments. But the question is, do you feel, you know, your mom's dream of giving you a better life, do you feel like it's fulfilled? Like, did you get
in a way, yes.
that?
In a way, yes.
Yeah,
Because
explain that, because that's a positive thing. A lot of people go, oh yeah, I cross the border and I get mistreated, but man, there's a difference between having to have dirt
yeah,
for your floor or living in a poverty neighborhood, but you know, if you have good community and you have good connections.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, for me, you know, like, you know, coming out here, it was definitely a better situation. Even though it wasn't a perfect one, it was definitely better than it was out there in Guatemala. I mean, so you know, I came out here. It was the same. I mean, it was the '90s. You know, what I mean, like you remember the '90s in Pico Uni, and it was really, you know, everywhere you go, you get stopped. I was a 10-year-old kid. I couldn't go anywhere that I got stopped. You know, where you from? You know what I mean, if I wasn't from any hood, like they wanted to
Dangerous
jump me in,
neighborhoods.
you know what I mean, like so that's what I came to, you know what I mean, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, you know, when you know, when I got involved with hip hop and how I got involved with hip hop.
Right.
But going back to, like, you know, if my brother's dream was fulfilled, I would say yes, it was.
Good.
Because me and my brothers are, you know, we're all adults now. We all have our families, and you know, we all. She gave us a good example. You know, she set this example for us to go for what we want,
Right.
and, you know, go for what we need, to fight for it, you know, and not give up.
Nice.
You know what I mean? No matter what life throws at us, you know, she taught us that, you know, you know, you have to get up and, you know, try again. You know, don't give up. You know what I mean?
That's a good point, because I remember you from a long time ago, from the gigs, right? When you were rapping,
Yeah.
right? I remember those shows. I remember you. And then I saw you again with the beats, and I was like, oh, well, he's not rapping no more.
How long ago was
I'm
this?
still rapping.
Well, I mean, but the focus was more on your production. Like,
Right.
I didn't see, like, I remember your posts where your studio was all white, the all white room.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you would do a lot of posts, and you would get rappers to come in there, and you would just do it consistently.
Yeah, I mean,
grind
that's kind of like just stages in your life where you have to kind of like set some things aside to get better at other things. And for me to get good at the production, I just had to shut up for a bit. You know what I mean? Like, I just felt like, I could continue to record albums and produce albums and shit, but, you know, and they're all gonna just end up in iTunes and Spotify, and with no listeners. You know what I mean? Like that's why I told myself.
Right.
Or I could just get better at this production shit and then get quality MCs on my music and
Right.
better MCs than me. You know what I mean? Because you have to kind of like also expand. You can't
Right.
you can't think. Like even though I could do it all, like I'm not gonna just do everything by myself. Like I do want to work with a team. I do want to work with other talent. You know what I mean? I do want to expand on the talent. That we have available locally. To make things happen.
That's what I love about you is that you do understand the underground. Like like when I hit you with the beat, you're like, oh yeah, dude, this is what I charge, and it wasn't like that. It was like, dude, how are we gonna work it out? All right, good, let's do it. And it was like, oh, that's a person that is gonna grind it out. And if any success comes, of course that's the kind of relationship we have. It's like, why would it be like when you create classic music, and I've been making music for 22 years. When you can make music that doesn't go out of style, or people go, oh, when did you release that? I was like, yeah, 18 years ago. That was a long time.
And it sounds like you did it yesterday.
Exactly. But that's because that's the art that I'm talking about. And when I asked you to do the Doctrine of Discovery, I was like, dude, it's gonna be like that, but with me not having to do the other part of it, right? Because when you're an MC and you wanna, no one can, that's why we're talking about this, because you know what it's like to be an MC. It's cool to be an MC, but then if you have to engineer that, and then if you have to produce the beat to that, and then if you have to like master and mix it, that's a lot of.
It's a lot of things. It's a lot of
like
things.
haywire.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in my case, I got involved, into the music like early on. I've been doing this for like maybe like 15 plus years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I started with hardware, like before Pro Tools was even a thing. I remember my first digital 8-track recorder, that I started recording on.
Right.
Before the computers, once computers were available to record
But
or affordable.
But what was the first reason why you bought your first piece of hardware? Like, way back.
Well, I mean, it was the inspiration, basically, I wanted to do hip hop. I wanted to create my own hip hop. I wanted to.
But so who was the artist that took you there? That went, oh man, I'm gonna do that. That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, I mean,
Warlock.
Was
you
it
have to
an
buy your first
underground?
MP. Let's go grab your first ever MP.
My first ever MP was Wu-Tang. I mean, it was Wu-Tang because that's the sound that really I fell in love with in the beginning. But I mean, being in LA, basically, like right here, we used to listen to West Coast hip hop, like West Coast rap, West Coast gangster rap.
Totally
that's
different
basically
beats. Totally different beats.
That's what I grew up listening to. You know what I mean? In high school, in middle school, that's what I was listening to. I was listening to the Chronic, like Doggy Style. And then a little later, like the Corrupt albums, and so that's basically.
So the whole Death Row era, kind of.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So that's what influenced me into the rap game. You know what I mean? Like that's at my age and what was already out, and what I listened to. That's what inspired me to like want to be a rapper.
Okay.
Like, Dr. Dre, and.
Were you making beats at the same time though?
I wasn't.
So you were just focused on MC.
I was an MC. And this was like maybe like but before I was an MC, I was a DJ. And before being a DJ, I was a B-boy. And I'm gonna take it back to '98, like late '98. That's when I really got involved with hip hop. That's when I would attend freestyle session events, B-boy summit events. And that's where I really got my, like all the knowledge from, about the 4 elements of hip hop. You know what I mean? And then that's where I saw all the DJs cutting and, beat juggling and all that stuff. And that's where I got inspired to be a DJ. So being a DJ, I started collecting vinyl, back, like in the early 2000s. And back then there was no Serato, you had to have vinyl and turntables and a mixer.
And you have to know how to do it.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Yeah, so from there, that's when I started like learning about different artists. But the one main inspiration was Dr. Dre, to go out and get an MPC, because I seen some videos where like he showed how his process, how he made his beats, this and that, and he had an MPC. I think it was like an MPC 60. MPC-60. You know, and at the time, you know, like the first
I
MPC
think that only has 8 pads, right?
no, it has 16.
Does it?
Yeah.
I thought it only had 8 pads.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this old ass MPC that only had like 8 pads on it.
Yeah.
And each one of them was just.
Oh, that's probably the Lindrum. That's the original, like one of the originals.
Yeah, it was like old as fuck,
Yeah.
man. It was
Yeah,
like,
no,
I was
but
like,
the
"Damn, how do you
MPC
make beats on this?"
Yeah, the MPC-60 is like the OG one that Premier used, the one that Dr. Dre used, the one that a lot of people use that MPC-60. And at the time, you know, I was able to afford the MPC 2000 XL. But that thing was already on its way out. Like it was already broken. Like some of the pads didn't work. Like, you know, it was like the memory was so fucked up. We could curse, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, so like at that
So
time,
you bought a machine that was so old, like you only had a few more, maybe months on it, or 2 months, or 3 months, or.
yeah. And in the way that I really learned the machine is just by playing what was already in there.
How much did you pay for it?
Back then, I remember it was like some good $400 and shit for MPC 2000 XL, and I regret selling it because now that I'm like a hardware junkie, like I'm like, man, I wish I had that MPC. I should have sold it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, no one knows like that they're not gonna that it's moving towards a different, you know.
And that was the early 2000s. It was like maybe like I was fresh out of high school, like 2002, and then the 2500 came out in 05. And that's the one that I'm still messing with, you know, to this day before I got the live.
Yeah.
The 2500
That was a
gifted to
Porsche
me.
for me. It was like when I looked at that beat, like the way it was, I was like, wow.
The 1000, the 1000 is like it's like the little brother to the 2500.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing, but it's just like a little
little
smaller.
piece.
Yeah.
I made Ciudad Celestial on that MPC 1000. So I used several beat machines to produce the albums I've done. And that's why I really like your production. Because I go, I know what it's like to use different machines. You're using different machines to get different sounds. Some of them have a different way of editing the sample and doing certain different things. So that's what I tell my son. I was like, that's what you have to get into, knowing that sometimes, I remember reading an article where the RZA hooked up MIDIs, like different machines, and played sounds like made out of a Roland.
Well, back then, you know, we couldn't. I mean, before Pro Tools, like that was the only way. Like you couldn't really like have a bass line on the MPC because the MPC didn't really have a synth built in. Like you had to hook up a MIDI cable into the MPC, and then the MIDI cable into the key. Like if you had like a Trident or like a Korg keyboard that had the bass sound on it, then that's what gave you the bass sound for the beat. So you had to connect that. So you had to connect the MIDI and the audio into a mixer.
Right.
So to get all your stuff, you know, lined up,
synced up
and mixed, you know, and
then it's not easy to hook up the MIDI too, because then you're like, oh well, what fucking one is the one that communicates to each other? Because they have to communicate through the MIDI.
Back then there was no YouTube, so you really had to just experiment.
Yeah.
I remember breaking a bunch of shit because I didn't know how to do certain things.
Right.
And then I learned by breaking things. You know what I mean? Like.
I remember when I bought my Korg, I was about to break it because I just could not do anything on it. And then I went, wait.
No, I'm not saying that I would like, you know, just rage and fucking like, you know, get mad and break shit.
That was me.
No,
that was me.
I'm saying that I would break things because I would try, like, I would connect some things that shouldn't be connected like a certain way.
Yeah, I get.
And
what
I
you're
blew
saying.
out a couple speakers like that. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying. For me, it was more like using my equipment was like a challenge, and then I just figured out creative ways of solving that. So I went, oh wait, I bought this at Guitar Center, and the guy that fucking sold it to me knows how to use this shit.
Exactly.
And I was like, hey bro, how the fuck do you use it? And he's like, oh, like this. And he showed me that little sequence once, and I went back home and practiced and practiced and practiced.
Kids or everyone out there listening, Zero brought out a good point right now. Make use of customer support.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Back then, we had no choice, you know, but to call customer support because we didn't have no YouTube. I mean, you guys have YouTube nowadays. You might find a video that has, you know, what you're looking for, but there's a lot of things out there that, you know, are not on YouTube. You know what I mean? And you make use of if you're buying machines from, you know, all these corporations, they have departments that they pay to do just that, to teach you how to use them, to tell you how to use them.
That's some
so
good
so
information.
so you have to take advantage of all of that.
Yeah.
Especially if you put them money in their pockets, you have to make sure that you use their services.
Yeah.
You know, don't just buy the stuff.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That like you take another initiative, and I think it holds true to your story, bro.
Yep.
Like your story isn't this simple road to success. I know people see you, and they see that your success because you travel. You're able to travel with your music. They feature you on podcasts like we do, like we are. Man, coming from that story, not to make it like harp on it, but to make it seem like that's what indigenous people do. They triumph during adversity. Because if you're a people that's been genocide, I know your parents left, or the situation in Guatemala, there was some major paramilitary stuff done by underground CIA operatives. They needed that area for whatever reason. I don't know the details of it, but there was some shit going down there. And so people had to become refugees and come this way, right? And that's the story of DJ Warlock One. And now we got a brilliant individual who, by trial and error, by investment in his own self, no one gave you Fedia, right? Hey, here you go, fucking buy this MPC, right? No. I could.
Well, I mean, the MPC 2500 was gifted to me by the homie Seiko One. Shout out to my homie Seiko One. He actually bought the MPC 2500 for him to produce and learn it, but he gave up. and he saw me using Reason 4 and the little MPD, and he's like, man, this is all you right here. Like, he let me have it, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna fail you, man. I'm gonna make something out of this.
And you did.
And I did.
And you did, bro.
And the homie, shout out to the homie, man. I always, whenever I see him, I'm like, man, you're the one that gave me the MPC. Like,
Dude,
you got that.
What a beautiful. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
That look.
So is he producing now?
No.
He gave up.
He
gave up on the
gave up.
machine, and he's like, dude, you're into it more than I am. Here, and that, man, when you get,
Are you still tapped in with that homie?
Yeah.
That's right.
When you get a gift of that magnitude put on your lap, it's similar to this story I'm gonna tell you right now. I was walking with at work, and I was right underneath a really big palm tree, huge palm trees. I had to be 200 feet, and I took my next step, and I swear there was a brown hawk feather, like right at the tip of my foot, and I picked it up, and I was like, wow, what a gift. What gave me this gift? Something outside of my physical shell. I didn't put no money to it. I didn't trade it with someone. It was just given to you. It was just given to you.
Yeah, like out of nowhere, and at first I was like, you don't have to do this. I kind of felt like you bought this because that thing was expensive back then.
It was huge. Hugely.
Maybe like
1,200 or something like that.
No, the 2500 was like the MPCX of today. So we're talking like 2,500.
Yes. I
2,500.
remember. I that's why I didn't buy it, because it was fucking expensive as fuck.
Yeah. So and that's how I came up on the MPC 2,500. But that's really what got me inspired to really be on the MPC, because I mean, even though I use the MPC a lot and you guys see me using the MPC most of the time, I like to use anything. If it's a freaking a pot and a pan and shit, like I'll fucking make a bit out of that. You know what I mean? Like I don't limit myself to just one machine or one computer or one program.
That's what's gonna be at the end of the day. That's why I don't like to share too much of my process. Like I share my process, but I don't share too much of my process. My process is a unique code that creates a certain sound. Like Global Pandemic, when I release it, people are gonna be like, it doesn't sound like anything else. Of course it doesn't, because that's my process. It's like and I see that in you when you make your productions. You like certain samples, certain cuts, certain drum. It has your signature on it.
Yeah. And I don't think about it too much, to be honest. I don't really think about
That's
I don't do it on purpose. I just kind of just let it take me.
Yeah.
Wherever it's gonna take me.
Like jazz player, like somebody who plays jazz drums.
Yeah, like that's I mean, my process has been like that. It's just been improvised. I've never had a plan to start producing. I never said, oh, I'm gonna do it this way. I just let it take me.
And where do you see the most, like, why do you think you are the most, like, very successful at this? Like, where you're in demand, people want your beats, people want to do things with you.
I think it's the showmanship, in a way, because when you guys, get DJ Warlock One, you're not just getting a beat playing in the background. You're not just getting a beat, a guy in front of his computer, playing, pressing play.
Yeah, triggering.
And the way the things sound is one thing, like you said, like, somebody's style. But the quality is the other thing. You have to have quality in your production. If your production, you might have a dope ass beat, but if it sounds like crap, like if it's not mixed well, if you don't really put if you don't pay attention to detail like that, to make sure that your drums sound the way they need to be sounding,
Right.
or if it's not balanced correctly,
Right.
People's not gonna dig it. You know what I mean? Like it could be like the dopest sample, it could be the dopest drum pattern, but if it's not sounding proper, people's not gonna feel it. You know what I mean? So I think it has to do with a combination of the quality of the music as well as the style. So those two.
And what are your favorite sources, like, to grab things?
For samples, it's always been vinyl. It's always been vinyl, but I've kind of taken a break on vinyl as of the past year or so, when TrackLib came out. TrackLib is a service that sells samples. They might have to pay me for this commercial.
I want to know about it.
But basically, the advantage of TrackLib is that you can clear the samples. You can clear the samples, and then you can publish your stuff.
Wow.
With cleared samples.
TrackLib.
You know what I mean? Yeah, TrackLib.
All right.
Yeah, look it up.
Sounds good.
So I've been, using a lot of TrackLib samples for stuff that I do when I publish, on higher levels. You know what I mean? Stuff that I put out, like just on Spotify or stuff like that that's obscure. Then I might not clear it. You know what I mean? Because it's just.
Yeah.
If it does blow up and people want to come after me, then
Yeah. Well, you'll deal with that when you'll deal with that when it comes. Like,
Yeah.
it's not. Don't limit
that's
your art.
that's something good to be dealing with, as a matter of fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you get sued, like by somebody like that.
Absolutely. I mean, that means your shit's dope, and someone's gonna reclaim it. I wanted to ask you this question about, like, in the process of making beats, particularly. I remember when I used to sit myself in the room and then just, obviously chopping the sample, sequencing the sample. But then there came to a point where you're just like lost. I almost felt like it was like a weird alien kind of sound for me, because it's solitude.
Yeah.
It's not with tons of people there and high fives. It's you just by yourself, and you're carving this. And you start realizing, what the fucking, like, I've made some sounds that are just almost alien style.
The best things that you could do is when you're by yourself. I mean, unless you're working on a collective project, but production is a really intimate thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you have to really be intimate with your music. When you're writing a song, when you're recording a song, when you're making a beat, you're kind of like in intimacy with yourself. You know what I mean? And music's always, like, to me, it's been medicine. Like for myself, like whenever I feel depressed, or whenever like things aren't really like going my way, you know what I mean? Like I turn to music. You know what I mean? I might isolate myself from a lot of people, but I'm all right, because I'm actually doing something productive. You know what I mean? And during this pandemic, and during the quarantine and stuff, like, I've created a couple albums, you know what I mean? And these are the beats that you guys are actually like requesting nowadays. So yeah, I mean,
that Red album, the Chronicles, that was done during the pandemic.
That was one of the pandemic, and that's one.
And I already got two. I got one other beat going on that one. So
all right.
Yeah, no, I love working with you, bro. I think I don't like to. I just want to work. You know what I mean? I'm done with trying to, like, that early 90s, you gotta do everything. You know what I mean? Like, no.
Work. It's I mean, you kind of graduate, to different levels. At one point you're trying to, like, prove yourself that you're worthy. You know what I mean? And then you make it past that stage, and after that, everything comes to you automatically.
Right.
Because you already did the work.
Yeah.
You did the legwork already. You know what I mean? And yourself, you've done the legwork. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm in the process of like getting there. You know what I mean?
No, I'm so I like I said, bro, I've studied your career. I started when you only had very few followers, you know, and like at that level, and I just like I like this guy's beats.
Oh, thanks.
It just came out like I like this guy's beats. Like
that's a compliment because I mean I've been a fan of El Vuh like for the longest and like since I started listening to like underground hip hop in español and all that
right.
Like, I remember because I used to work with my homie Illegal with Somos Hip Hop Radio.
Illegal, yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, so I was the DJ for that radio station.
No way.
Yeah. When it was active like around 07 through 09. That's like when it was most active.
I remember Illegal. He used to come with the camcorder all the time.
Yeah,
I remember that, brother.
Yeah, so
wow.
we had some of your songs in rotation, and whenever your songs came out, like I always like freaking like got goosebumps and shit. You know what I mean? Like I was a huge fan of it. You know?
Well, I'm glad that we talked about the intimacy of that, right? Because it takes a lot to trust yourself and to get into these worlds and these places that are foreign to us because of genocide, you know, and it's almost like walking into a dark room and you're feeling, and then all of a sudden you realize, man, why do I have my eyes closed? You know, the truth is right there, and I'm gonna use that feeling and and look inside. You open your eyes and you say, fuck, there's all kinds of elders back here. There's all kinds of people that are master than just living in a shell body. That's my inspiration when I go into the ether of pulling lyrics out or making beats even. It's a frequency, really. It's like, oh wow, this is like making my heart feel a certain way here. I don't know if you feel the reaction to your body, because when you get certain samples, you get a reaction, like you said, a chill, like, oh, whoa, what is this? And you start going.
It talks to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of pulls you in automatically.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you don't even have to force it.
Yeah, I agree.
When you have to force things, like that's when you know you have to like turn that machine off and, walk away.
Yeah.
Do something else and then come back to it later. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I feel you.
It's and I love that because, not too many people take these type of approaches. They're very, very, they can frustrate you, like you said, where you're like, I've spent, like when I was going to break the Triton, I was like, I had spent all day there, like from the morning till the night, ignoring everybody and everything, stuck on that. And it didn't go, like to walk away from that, it's go, man, I lost 8 hours. But really, I learned a lot of things too. I knew.
I mean, like at the moment you're seeing it as losing 8 hours, but in reality, you gained knowledge.
Yes.
And you gained the experience of like that thing not working at that time. Yes. And then the next time, that you come back to it, you're gonna know why it didn't work. And so now you're not gonna make the same mistake.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And it goes a little faster, and the time condenses. Why don't you load up another beat, brother?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, because I know that this has been playing for a while already. So
but like I said, and then we have a special guest here too.
Oh,
I know this brother.
Big ups to my boy Moja Umbo, man. Representing La Liga de la Calle. This is my road dog right here. You know what I mean?
Get the chair, brother. Come in and can you hook him up right there?
Right here, grab this one right here.
Perfect beat. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. I know this brother. I've known this brother for a very long time. I think I met you when you first got here, right?
Yeah, like 5 years ago.
Easy, like a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want you
remember?
spit a verse for these guys.
Yeah.
This guy is awesome.
Yo, DJ WARLOCK ONE. Me dijo que cantar acá. Y digo ya. Aunque el beat me llegue a llegar, nunca voy a parar. Rap en español siempre lo voy a representar. Ahora en LA estoy viviendo, antes en Centroamérica, pero igual estaba ya fluyendo. Es que esto estamos haciendo, representando a nuestra gente que te la está cosiendo, o los que se están descosiendo, pero la verdad en nombre de rap está bendiciendo. Yo Soy un hip hop, siempre real boom bapa. Le doy gracias a mi mamá, también mucho a mi papá por haberme enseñado a respetar a los mayores. Yo no le creo lo que veo en televisores, tampoco creo en políticos, y eso ya lo dejé. Te venden estas cosas, pero yo digo areje. La religión me grita que yo soy un hereje, pero yo no les creo porque este sí se mece en los beats de DJ Warlock One. Es que hay muchas cosas que decir que no puedo parar, pero aquí me paro, aquí me callo. Y DJ Warlock One con otro beat, la bomba estallo.
Yo.
Killing it.
This brother, man, he has the same story kind of DJ Warlock One, but he comes from a different part of the country, right? He doesn't
Yeah,
come
yeah.
from Guatemala.
He comes from well, let him say where he comes from.
El Salvador.
Yeah. and you were young when you got here.
Yeah, bro, I was like 18.
18,
Yeah,
bro.
I got here when I was 18, but I was doing this in El Salvador already.
Yeah, no,
You know,
because when you landed in LA, I remember it was still kind of early in you being here, and I remember seeing you freestyle.
Yeah, well, I grew up with hip hop, bro. You know, everybody in my circle in my country was hip hop, and I learned how to freestyle like when I was like 13, 14
Yeah.
with my friends, you know.
Yeah.
They were older than me, but they taught me how to do it.
Wow.
And then here we go.
I was impressed, Armando, when I met this young man. When he first
Absolutely.
came and he busted a freestyle in Spanish, I was like, this guy needs about 5 more years and he's about to explode. Because you have to go through that pain. You have to go through that, I'm good, but no one's listening, right? Until you fucking finally, like you were talking about it earlier, right? You were saying like, you got to go to, I remember playing in rooms with nobody there, but I was playing my heart out, right? I was just fucking, fucking going.
That's one thing I learned early on in my career. Even if there's one person there looking at you, perform, do your best. Like don't just because like you're in an empty room, like don't go in there like it's empty. I'm not gonna do my best. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm gonna give him a crappy show. Like don't give it your best. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
use it as a rehearsal. On a stage or something. Like make something out of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Make something out of something positive out of a negative situation. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I see it.
Right. And then in a way though, even I got to a point, because I've played in front of 10,000 people, and it was the same feeling I had when nobody was in the room. It was the same energy. It was like almost like I lose myself in it, and I open my eyes and the thing's over. You know what I mean? Like it's the same feeling when I was in the room with nobody. I opened my eyes and it was over. Right? It was really
Get
like
that tunnel vision.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
But anyways, I was gonna ask if you could put this beat up because I keep getting some lyrics in my head that I want to share. So here we go. I am the ghost of the ancient, set in the sage scent. My intent righteous, I meditate to write this. Panche bear warrior, great light destroyer. I seek the root of truth, then rhyme it in a booth. Ignite the youth, bring them back to Unapku. The essence of creation, divine explanation. Mind and body elevation, penetration. Out of this existence, into the light. Quetzalcoatl takes flight and is visible at night. Every 8th year, Venus shines bright. The precious twin. The Egypt pizza brings us balance again. Reverse the axis of sin. Let the positive cycle begin. Yeah. Yo.
Wow.
That beat is fire. That's what I'm telling you, man. This is what you bring out of people. Like, dude, my hand's shaking. I love it.
Wow. Amazing. Well, you being a Spanish hip hop artist, how important is that, to elevate the hip hop community out here in SoCal? Because, me and Zero, we've always talked about, how, the Spanish hip hop scene is growing faster than the national hip hop scene. Right?
Absolutely.
But me and Zero, we're trying to bring it to LA,
Right.
to compete with the other hip hop conglomerates that come out here, pack out shows, 500 to 1,000. To this day, I haven't been able to attend a show that's all Spanish that could pack out clubs like 1,000, 1,500. I have to say that.
When Armando talked about the show with Quinto Sol and the all Spanish lineup, I mean, I felt like, you know what, though? That there's a cross brand that could happen here, right? We need to bring our Chicano brothers with our Paisa brothers and go, this is not even, this is not, once that invisible line of like I grew up here and you grew up over there gets away, or you only speak Spanish and I know how to speak Spanish, but I'm used to speaking English, goes away. I mean, how powerful will our music scene be? We won't need anybody, right? We won't need anybody. Really.
Well, and I would think that's the whole goal, right? On being a producer and a rapper. Because trust me, bro, I've worked with hundreds of rappers, and they all have one thing in common: they all want to become a true headliner one day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Zero's been blessed to be a headliner for many years. A lot of artists try to get to a level where Zero's at, you know. So,
But you know what they don't
how do you
tell?
feel about that, Warlock?
About,
Like, you know, Alchemist level. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, at that point, you're already blessed. I mean, you've already made it. You know what I mean? Like, you might as, just enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Who are your
enjoy it.
top independent producers in the game? Like, when it comes to, like, let's take away the industry heads. Like, you know, are there any independent producers that are like really killing it right now?
Shout out to my boy Nut Life, man. Like, Nut Life is a big inspiration to me. Like, you know, he's a younger cat than me, and like, you know, he puts in work, man. Like, he's not playing around.
You know what I like about Nug Life is that Nug Life is very, like you said, tunnel vision, and he knows where his investments need to go. Unfortunately for me and El Vuh, it was different because I had children and I was trying to do this, you know, and I know you have a child.
I have a child, yeah.
So it's not to talk bad about Nug Life because we're not. That's not it. That brother's focused and talented, and he's fucking hitting home runs. I mean, singles with Val the Wonder, bro.
Grand slams.
Slams, bro. And this is what I'm talking about, though. How powerful would that be if an indigenous community or someone that relates to not maybe being 24 hours a day, you know, living that understanding, but knowing that when you come to a gathering or when you come to this place or concert, that we're one family.
Yeah.
That we come from the same place, whether you speak Spanish or not. That's what I'm going to tell. That's going to be the biggest message, is to bring together the Spanish-speaking community with the Chicano or whatever you want to call
Bilingual
yourself.
That's how it felt for me on the first Alienated event, you know, because I came in there with the Spanish, all Spanish set.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You
know what
rocked
I mean?
it. I remember.
I came in there with all Spanish. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I was there, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like,
I remember.
At the time, I didn't even
the crowd
know
reacted
that
in
you
a way.
rapped, you know?
The crowd reacted in a way that I didn't expect the crowd to react that way, because, you know, like, usually, like, if you know, if it's a crowd that it's only watching English acts, when it's a Spanish act, like, it's a little different. Like, I've been there before.
Yeah.
I've been to events where the crowd's there to listen to English hip hop. Period.
Yeah.
And you go in there with the Spanish. Yeah, it might resonate a little bit, but they might not understand what you're saying because they're not Spanish speaking people, right?
Right.
But at that last event, when I did my set, like, I felt the energy from the crowd. You know what I mean? And it was amazing.
It was amazing.
I
I know what you're talking about, because when I saw all the opening acts go on that day on Custer's Last Stand on June 25th, everybody was kind of getting a collective agreement, right? Like, we're all family here. Dope, you know. No one really got a less of a scream, or you know, everybody kind of felt like
everyone stayed.
Dude,
It's
everyone
rare
stayed.
in underground hip hop shows right now. Everyone goes in there with
270
their
people.
posses, and then they leave as soon as they get done playing.
200 and that's what we're trying to create is an environment where people can appreciate the form of this young man and his ability to freestyle and his timing, his cadence. This brother's timing, when I first heard him, was like, whoa, that's how I knew you were gonna be very good. You know, and it'll be up to you though on how you take your steps, right? Because every art is different. Like, I don't have a million album sale, but I know one thing: my music's gonna last way longer than 5 years. I already has last. And people tell me, when did you release Jaguar Prophecies? And it's like, dude, 2002. And they go like, fuck, I was 5. Right? I was 5 years old when that happened.
I was getting started in the hip hop scene.
You see? And dude,
I mean, like, not in the hip hop scene, but like in the rap scene. I was getting started like back in 02.
yeah.
I got started in hip hop in 96, 97 as a b-boy. And then it evolved to DJ, turntablist, and then to an MC in 02.
Wow.
DJ Warlock is right. He does it all.
Dude, that's how you know what though? Even the MC life, even though, you know, he still does it, obviously, but that helps you become a producer.
Yeah,
because you know how to guide what sounds good, what's going to be off. Like, it was so much work to work with Victor and Eric, guiding them, not telling them what to do, but just pointing things out that could fit within the rhythm of whatever.
There's two types of producers, engineers. The one that's just gonna go sit down, hit record, and then you let the artist do whatever they want to do. If it comes out messed up, he's not gonna say anything. And then there's the other producers, engineers that will tell the artist that you're fucking up, like do it again. I don't think this is what you should do. I don't think this is your maximum potential.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's the difference between like the two types of producers that I know.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what I mean?
it was hard to explain to individuals that, like, you know what I used to hit them with all the time, Victor and Eric, was to go, okay, well, this is going to be the final one, the print. Is this the one you're going to print? Because I could tell you where I hear things, but
I mean,
as soon as I said I could tell you where I hear things, they're like, do it again. It's like,
no, I mean, like you could give people, your opinion, as a producer, engineer, and if they take it constructively, that's fine. But some of them might take it like the wrong way, you know what I mean? And at that point, if it's something that you're just getting paid to do, then fine. I mean, that's your song, that's their song, that's their sound.
Absolutely.
You're getting paid for it, let's get this gig done and move on. You know what I mean? But if it's something that more personal, like I usually, when I get in the studio, it's personal. I take my music very personal. Like I don't sell myself in a way.
Banging, bro.
Like I do sell my beats and I do charge for studio time and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is that when I get in the studio, like the MC that's working with me has to be in the same frequency as me and the same page, the same mentality that we want to do the best we can while we're in there.
And the same professionalism.
Yes.
So, you know how hard it was back in the day to sell a beat? It was like fucking the hardest fucking thing to do.
Yep.
And now the fact that you sell beats and you contribute to your income with your art, congratulations, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
That is not easy to do.
It's been a long process and I still got a long way to go. I mean, I'm not really where I want to be when it comes to selling beats.
Well, I have two songs that I want to do. But I want to work with a producer that I feel after this interview, it has to be you.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, thanks.
And I feel like we could do something like, because right now the new trend is drumless beats.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm thinking maybe
Yeah, I got you.
drumless beats.
I got
Couple songs, 2 songs, whatever. Could be under your name. DJ Warlock One does Zero, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we could do it like, as a collabo, you know what I mean?
However you want to do it, brother. You're in the driver's seat when it comes to that. I just want to share my lyrics to your talent. And your talent is...
And I want to share my music, with the world. And nothing better to do it than to do it with Zero, you know what I mean? Like
Thank you. I mean...
That last track, man, the Doctrine of Discovery, man, you exceeded the expectations with that.
Yeah, no, well, when I heard it, I was like, it's like this beat, Like I felt like I need to... There's nothing, my frequency's coming into play and I need to say these lyrics over this beat. And that's what happened, right? And that's what happened with Doctrine of Discovery. Because I was like, where's my pandemic version of what we're going through? Like, what am I going to write about? Am I going to write about masks? Am I going to write about vaccines? Or am I going to write about the truth origin of this bullshit, right? And the true origin of this bullshit and all bullshit, medical, everything, medical, army, government, comes from white supremacy. And that's the truth, and enough's enough. And I'm going to be the one that says that till the day my creator takes me back home. Not him. He doesn't have that power, right? The creator has that power.
Yeah.
And I believe in that. And I believe in your talent because you're not even close to being done, my friend.
Yeah,
well,
thanks.
DJ Warlock, every producer out there takes a certain lane, right? But with my experience from you, especially me running a blog and stuff, I see that you work with a lot of indigenous artists.
Yeah.
Right? What is that all about?
Well, I mean, honestly, I work with anyone that I feel, that it's on the same frequency as I am, like I said earlier. You don't have to be indigenous to anything. You don't have to be black. You don't have to be white. You don't have to be Mexican. whatever. I mean, if you're a hip hop artist that's on the same frequency as me, then we'll get in the studio and we'll create jams.
Wow. Amazing.
Now that's not a statement that producers usually make.
Yeah.
Because everyone used to beg me to be on a track, bro. Everyone. Oh, can I be on? Can I do? And I was like DJ Warlock One, I felt like nobody was in this position to be in that, because I really wanted to open up a specific door.
Right.
Everything I've written about, everything I've done, even to Malinali Superfoods, has been from that door. You know what I mean? I didn't want to change it up. I had to be specific. Like I had to be like my mentors, right? The people like Bob Marley, dude. Like they didn't change for anybody. They were who they were. Now I'm not that. Not nowhere near that. But I know I got information from a certain door, right? That we opened up, right? And that door is the center of your heart. It's specific. I'm not trying to lie. That's what the truth lies, in the center of your heart. There's no denying that, right? So those are the type of doors, and I feel I make that kind of music with you.
Yeah.
Doctrine of Discovery was that. It was easy. Oh, there it is. Boom. You know, it's
How'd you like the music video?
I love it, man. That's why I said, like, you know, like I didn't even expect the video to come out.
Bro,
You
I
know?
told you, dude, this is gonna have a video.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Me and Armando, we paid for an ad for that. You know how many views we got? We got 11,000 views on that.
That's what's up.
So that was just like, it kind of like we used it like an intro. So now we got global pandemic. We're gonna work on the beat list, beats with you, and who knows what the creator has in store for us and whoever else is a part of this new indigenous hip hop movement.
Now, I have to give you props on hosting events at your restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I see that, bro, and it just, bro, it hits me hard because not a lot of people are willing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, especially in these days right now with the pandemic, it's kind of hard to even, you know, host an event, period. You know what I mean?
Do you see the Zero? He has gatherings at his spot,
Mm-hmm.
and he has MCs, beat makers, people killing it, and I'm just like, yo.
Yeah. I've been doing like private events pretty much, but I do, you know, open the doors to the public, to RSVP. You know, if they want to be, you know, if they want to come check out the producers that I have there, or the MCs, or the lineup that I have at the you know, at the moment that I'm doing that.
That's
you know what I mean?
man.
So yeah, I mean, I just you know, it's for the community. You know what I mean? Like I'm in South Central. I'm in the community, and I wanna you know, make as much noise as I can. You know what I mean? Like while I'm there. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
And what's the address to your restaurant?
it's 3007 South Central Avenue. It's on 32nd and Central.
37th and Second.
I have to
32nd.
32nd.
32nd and Central.
And
I have
Central.
to-
The restaurant's called Milagro Salvadorian Restaurant.
Perfect.
We specialize in Salvadorian food, but we do offer Salvadorian, Mexican, and American.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Hey, all LA natives, anybody local, anybody near that area, please go help our brothers out. It's very important to stay sovereign. I know the success of his restaurant, the success of Malinali Superfoods allows us to make the art that is
Right.
profound without worry, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Just-
and share it with the community.
Yeah,
You know,
'cause-
and like the spaces, you know, like Armando was saying, like, you know, he's noticing, you know, like he took notice of the events, you know, like happening at my restaurant, and I didn't even know that. Like I didn't know, like, that's how far it went, you know, like when
Yeah.
it came to like somebody, like, you know, actually paying attention to that, you know what I mean?
No.
Like,
Oh,
like,
bro.
and it creates an impact.
I watch
you know?
your every move. Well, from what I see on social media.
Yeah.
yeah, whatever you allow us to see, because
Right.
you know your intimate process, the you know, making of the beats or whatever it is. Like I literally watched this brother go from a certain point to here.
Yeah, and I hope everyone that attends buys the dinners
Oh, no,
and
yeah,
buys the lunches. Because best
everybody
believe when I show
supports.
up, dude, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a nice little plate.
Everyone supports, man. Everyone supports. I want to thank everyone that's actually, you know, come through and, you know, supported. You know what I mean?
So what's the restaurant name again?
Milagro Salvadorian Restaurant.
There it is,
Milagro.
guys. Remember that. Look it up on Google Maps. South Central LA.
Moja says that it's the best pupusas in town.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh damn, this is alright.
Moja approved.
Yeah.
Also, too, you're playing on October 10th this week, right?
Yeah, before we get to that, I want to bring up the restaurant, the business. So this just kind of like a message out to anyone who's might be going through like financial issues or whatever. You know, like I had like before I went full blown on the restaurant. You know, I was doing you know, I'm a network engineer. You know, so I was working for this corporation. Well, it was more like a private small business, but it was like almost corporative, right?
Right.
Doing IT, and I was making about, you know, like 80 to 100K a year, you know, with bonuses and all that stuff. But the stress levels were up the ass, and fucking, you know, I hardly had time to work on my music. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, like a while back, I told myself I'm gonna, you know, detach myself from all of this corporate shit, and fucking, you know, like go back to my community. Because when you're making the type of money, like, you know, you kind of like lose yourself in the environment, you know, in the corporate environment. Like you become somebody else. You know, you kind of start losing yourself from yourself. You know, like, and I see all my people struggling. You know what I mean? Like I saw the struggle. You know, like in the street vendors, I saw the struggle in the people that have jobs that are minimum wage and this and that. And I'm like, fuck, like. You know, and even though I was making that type of money, I wasn't happy. Like I wasn't a happy person. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of other things happening around me that didn't really, you know, that I couldn't buy with money. You know what I mean? And then I just want to tell everybody out there that's listening that is one of the best decisions I made. To leave a corporate job like that, you know, because I mean, even though, you know, I had been there for a long time, it wasn't secure. You know, like. I don't know.
They could have let you go.
Yeah, I don't know if they were gonna lay off people like tomorrow and, you know, let me go, and I was gonna be an employee after that. You know what I mean? But what I did is, I just let that go. I started working on my own business, and you know, and now I'm more connected with the community. You know what I mean? Doing, you know, a lot more events, and that's why you've seen me like really be, you know, like around a lot more lately because of that move that I made.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? I'm not seeing those, you know, 80K a year.
Right.
Before taxes, you know, because, you know, Uncle Sam was really, you know, putting it in deep.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you followed your passion, you followed your gut, and you're like, look, you know, even though I'm making 100K a year, you know, I'm losing my identity.
Well, yeah, that was me being employed by another company. You know what I mean? Now it's like, fuck.
You're
like,
employing people.
Yeah, exactly. So, but in the beginning it wasn't easy. You know what I mean? Like it was like. You know what I mean? Like the family. I mean, we're still going through it. You know what I mean? Like everyone's going through it, but it's something that it's an effort that everybody has to put in at one point. You know what I mean? And that effort pays. You know, it pays up in the future. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to put that out there. You know what I mean? Let people know that, you know, if, you know, there's always a better way. Like, you know, just stick to the community, and the community will get you back. You know what I mean?
Right. No, that's what I've been experiencing with my small juice bar or deli, kind of vegan deli that I did right here in East Los Angeles, you know, and they're gonna try to make changes and try to squeeze us out as best as they can, but it's our job to take care of ourselves. Don't get too panicked. You know, work together. Like you said, working together is gonna be the most.
We went through the pandemic, you know, through the first, like, you know, wave of the pandemic where they closed everything. They didn't want nobody, like, you know, dining in anywhere. Right. We went through that, you know what I mean? And we adapted.
Now with all the restrictions, it looks like it's gonna get even more.
Now we gotta adapt to that. You know, now we gotta find ways to adapt to the new restrictions and all that. Right. You know what I mean? So we just gotta keep pushing.
And you know what beats authoritarianism or some sort of unfair rule over people that are everybody just wants to, what happened to just having a life, man, and not having someone tell you can't do this because of this paper right here, you can't do stuff. What the fuck? You know, that's like weird, right? And we have to start questioning that. But you know what is the counter to that is creativity in art. That's why the Nazi Germany had a war on art, right? So those that are artists, now everything you do, whether it be specific towards your human rights, indigenous rights, or anything else, your artistry is now going to be looked upon and scrutinized. You can't be waking people up, people. You can't do that. Where's your card? Right? That's not the world that I want to live in. So until they're able to control the wind, fire, earth, and water at the same time as the great universe itself, I'm sovereign. And I don't need to worry about I'll figure it out. That's just like my great ancestors did. We figured it out. We stood on. Masatzin said it. The light was always on. We always had a light. Through this dark period, we always had a light on. The great sunstone.
And I love how DJ Warlock One is talking to our audience and making them aware, like, look, if you want to take that extra leap and follow your passion, I think now is the time to do it.
Because regardless of like if you have a freaking a good paying job or whatever, but it's enslaving you freaking 80 hours a week, you're still gonna go through the freaking through everything that everybody else is going through. So might as well get in touch with the roots, get in touch with the community. If you're disconnected from it, do your best to come back to it.
So give us a little bit of background on how the restaurant started.
Well, I mean, shout out to my moms,
Absolutely.
Once again, my mom's, she's the main head when it comes to like the kitchen. You know what I mean? And, she's her experience is like 30 plus years, in Salvadorian
so it's
cuisine.
a full family owned business.
It's a family business.
Absolutely,
Well, it's my mom's and myself.
Oh,
Sweet.
wow.
That's
Yeah.
a good,
That's a good combination right there.
Yeah. And then
that is
part of me making the decision too was really like seeing her struggle. You know what I mean? That's what really pushed me to I just at the moment I'm the only sibling from all my brothers and sisters.
Now,
that
how
can really
does
do
she?
that,
How does she feel about you pursuing
Oh,
the
man.
rap game?
Oh, she's always been supportive since day one. Like she's never told me, oh, you're wasting the time. If anyone has supported me when it comes to music, and even though in the past, I would probably be like, like I would get too drunk or whatever. Like she's always been supportive. Like moms are always gonna like give you the good advice. You know what I mean? Like regardless of like what you do. You know what I mean? Like and because thanks to that, like I'm where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, I think the struggle that she had to go through to get you here,
Yeah.
the void in time that was missed, it all resulted in that. That's why I tell people we can't worry about what happened to us in the early part of our life. We just know that we survived it. We can't worry about the white man's genocide towards indigenous people because we've already survived it, right? Who the fuck's gonna support land theft, rape, and the mistreatment of other people? They'll do it. People are gonna say something about it, right? And who's the one that really says stuff about it is really the art community, right? Even in a beat, you can make a beat that has no lyrics on it, and people know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of what we do and what we're able to do for our community.
Well, I
our
want to
people.
thank you, Warlock, for working with some very powerful voices in the indigenous hip hop community, like Jagger Riola,
Yeah. Shout out to Jag Ariola, man.
like
Jag Ariola.
Azamali,
Azamali, yeah. He
Sub
hit me up.
One.
He hit me up. He's the one who hit me up about some scratches on one of the songs, Native Made. And that's how I actually came across Sub One, because he was on that song. Like, even though we lived so close and we kind of like frequented the same circles, I didn't know Sub One back then. You know what I mean? I just got in touch with him recently, like when we put out that song, Native Made.
And it was a hand in glove fit.
Yeah.
Sub One is dope.
Yeah.
Sub One, Azamatli, Jag. That's the new generation of.
Shout out to Rojos Productions on that beat, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, Rojos.
Yeah.
Rojos is dope
Yeah.
too.
So, is it October 10th?
Yeah.
This Sunday, guys, at the IPR Arts Center, right?
Yeah.
We got Zero of El Vuh, we got Sub One, we got DJ Warlock One, and
We
many
got
more.
Sister Sensi
Absolutely.
from formerly from Korea, Queens.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
The flyer's been shared a lot, guys. And if there's anywhere to be,
We got Viaje
this is where
Caliche.
you want to be.
Oh, Viaje Caliche, yeah.
Viaje Caliche, right? If there's anyone you want to be in Indigenous Day weekend this Sunday, it's going to be at this spot right here, man. I'm looking forward to the event. I heard you're doing the sound, right?
We're doing the sound
Absolutely.
as well as.
I feel good about that, Zero.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Well, I mean,
Because you know me, man. I throw concerts.
No
man. The
one's gonna
sound
be
is always
more-
at A1
no one's gonna be more
to me.
technically savvy or handle the little things that happen when you do live sound. than
We're in
DJ
good
Warlock
hands.
One.
When it comes to
Absolutely.
live sound, there's two important things that people need to take into account. One of them is that make sure that it sounds good, and the second one is the monitoring for the artists.
Yes, I love you, man. That's no one ever thinks
If
of
we
that
can't hear ourselves, how the hell do you expect us to perform properly? You know what I mean?
one.
So
I'm telling you, bro.
I'm just that's just the one thing, you know, that
No
uh,
one ever.
yeah.
No one ever. They think that the monitor is some sort of like lamp in the corner that really doesn't need to be used. It needs to be used because that's what helps you not overexert your voice and you're in the pocket of the beat because the monitor is giving you the right reference, right? So let's know. We know that you're an amazing engineer.
I mean, we'll do our
Yo,
best.
I am very curious, dude. This might sound cliche to you, but you know, how'd you come up with the name DJ Warlock One?
DJ Warlock One actually started as B-Boy Warlock One. So B-Boy, meaning breaker. You know, like I was baptized with that name by my cousin. You know, because I used to skate with him as kids in middle school. We used to go to Wilshire, and everybody had a nickname. My nickname back then it used to be Ransom. So I used to fucking tag Ransom everywhere. You know what I mean? Like when I was in middle school. But one day, you know, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna be Warlock." You know, we were smoking out, and you know, and it stuck. You know, it stuck. It stuck to me. Like I liked it. I was like, you know, Warlock sounds good. You know what I mean? Back then there was no social media, no internet, so like I couldn't really like look up other warlocks, you know. And to this day, like I don't really, you know, there's DJ Warlocks out there, but there's only one DJ Warlock One.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I like the name, bro.
And that's why I keep it, you know, DJ Warlock One, because it's me, you know, it's unique.
It's
you know?
extremely catchy,
Yeah.
bro.
Has a logo, everything.
Yeah.
He gave me a shirt. Thank you so much for the shirt. I'm gonna rock that. Take a pic.
Shout out to Reyes Muertos in San Jose. You know, he's the Carlos. He's the, you know, he designed the
Cool.
the design. If you guys got, you know, have a
You still
chance.
live in San Jose then?
No.
No.
How
How did you work with isn't he from San Jose? Illegal?
Illegal used to be in San Francisco area.
San Francisco,
Yeah,
right.
Oakland, San Francisco.
So you lived in
I never lived there.
Oh.
No.
But how did you work with him?
Through MySpace.
Oh,
you know,
okay,
we
okay.
linked up through MySpace, and then, you know, we met up, and then we started working.
I see. No, because that brother was everywhere. He was in LA. He would be, you know,
Yeah, I mean-
he documented a lot of the early, you know, Farce of Julys and
Yeah.
things like that.
That's really how I got involved with a lot of, like, you know, other states and other cities. You know, people that I'm still in touch with, by the way. And that's how I know Carlos, you know, in San Jose, you know.
That's cool.
And his
Well, shout out
brand,
to him.
Reyes Muertos Clothing, you know, like if you guys have a chance, go check him out. Reyes Muertos Clothing, you know, like
Reyes Muertos.
they're doing big things out there, and, you know, shout out to them.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, it was amazing. Well, you know what I want to do? I want to trigger maybe one more beat.
Okay.
Okay. But as we do that, you know, just want to say thank you for coming on the show, bro. And
Thank you for having me, man. Like, you know,
sharing your story.
I wanted to. I mean, like I said, you know, I have been trying to come over here for a while, and it hadn't been possible because of you know, whatever situation, you know, we're going through. But we're here today, and it was meant to be. And, you know, I want to thank everyone watching, and I want to thank you, Zero and Mondo, especially for the invitation. You know, like I'm humbled. You know.
Right. Well, everybody
Absolutely.
follow DJ Warlock One. Any MCs that need beats and production, you have an expert here, and who, you know, really is about the music. So just, you know, that keep that in mind. And, you know, I want to thank my brother
Thank you.
for coming on and sharing your talent with us. You know, and I know that you're gonna come out with something dope soon, and we'll have you back on.
Sure. We
And then
got,
Armando, this brother, you want to book this brother because
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
he comes with it, bro. He's dope.
We got a whole album with DJ Warlock One coming up.
¿Cómo se
We
llama?
got 7 songs. Exodus.
Exodus.
Yeah,
There you
we're
go.
working on the art right now.
I'm glad you're doing projects, bro, because when I first met you, I knew I felt your energy. I knew your talent. And now that you're like putting together a project, and then when you're around someone like DJ Warlock One, then you have talent, you know, because you got to remember DJ Warlock One, the biggest producers had the best MCs, you know, wanting to rap on their beats. And I think you picked the right combination of people that really showcase your talent.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a chance, go check out the catalog on Spotify. I have albums that I put out, with my brothers, Circuito Cerrado Music, Comandante, Cruz Control in New York, and Phenomenon in Washington, D.C. It's a whole EP with all four of us on there, produced by myself.
There you go.
And then there's quite a few other instrumental albums and the earlier albums that I put out as an MC
So
and
you're
producer.
on Spotify.
Yeah.
And make sure, don't just
look up
stream it
Spotify.
on Spotify. Make sure you guys hit that follow button on there as well.
Right.
Right. Well, it was a pleasure to have you, bro.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. What I'm about to play right now, this beat right here is the one that I was cooking up. One time I was in the studio cooking up by myself, and I was live on IG, and I was basically talking to the audience, and then I don't know where Zero's like, I'll rock to that.
Oh, wow.
I remember he just came in, and he was like, I rock to that, and I was like, oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
But we haven't really gotten to rock to this one, but this is the one that you told me,
Okay.
I'll rock to that.
Let's see.
And
Let's
then
see what
because
we
of
got.
this beat, after that we started talking about the beat, and that kind of
This one's the one that sparked the,
Yeah.
the flame. All right. Wow. I like the break beat in it. Fucking dope.
Ok. Nos vamos. Ey. DJ Warlock One en el beat. Ey, 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 ey. Casi que se me oye. Ey. La niña ya está casi en diseboye. Vengo tranquilo, pero no es pa' que me enrollen en varas ni nada de eso. Yo soy una persona como usted, de carne y hueso. Por eso es que siento cada crítica y cada traición. Estamos en contra de toda esta Babilón. Yo estoy representando siempre mi nación, pero no hay problema, lo hago del corazón. Estoy con Zero el Vuh, le ponemos la actitud. Estoy tranquilo haciendo en Los Ángeles, ¿dónde estás tú? Ojalá que estés bien, te lo deseo. Ey. Este sentimiento es recto como el río Nilo, no lo sé, soy en un hilo. Estoy improvisando, esta es una canción que ha salido. Esto es freestyle, no es escrito. Yo no soy un mito, quiero ser leyenda canalito. Pero mientras no, estaré humble, rapeando así, nadando en lo hondo para poder encontrarme yo mismo. Hay muchas veces que he caído solo en un abismo y me he levantado por yo mismo y le doy gracias a toda la gente que haya estado. Ahora la hemos improvisado, no sé de dónde tantas rimas me he sacado, pero como Jordan también la he clavado y no hay problema.
DJ Warlock One. Give your handle for IG.
Moja Humo, M-O-H-A, Humo, H-U-M-O. Moja Humo.
Gracias.
Gracias.
DJ Warlock One, always banging on the beats.
Thank
Get
you,
him
Zero.
up.
Thank
Yo.
you, Mondo.
Yo, October
El Late
10th.
Natives Podcast.
October 10th. Be there.
Can we give them the address if you have it?
Yes. You know
handy?
what?
'Cause,
Make sure
Oh,
any-
I just. Right, go ahead.
All right.
it's posted on our Instagram page. Let me go ahead and give everyone the address. It's going to be 7625 South Central Avenue, Los Angeles at the IPR Center. We are celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. We got Zero of El Vuh, Yahe Caliche, DJ Warlock One, Disease 84, Sister Century, DJ Jazzy Ho, and Sub One. We got music, vendors, food, art. Our existence is our resistance.
Yeah.
October 10th, this Sunday, the only place to be. It's a free event, right?
Free event. Free event. No mask required. No vaccination card required. Everyone's welcome.
Sweet.
Wow.
We got food vendors. We got medicine vendors. Come through.
Absolutely, brother. You came with it today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Warlock.
Thank you.
Now, know everyone, all you artists out there, you guys have a voice. You guys have power. Collectively use your wisdom and talent and share your heart, because now's the time. You know, people want to tell you how to live and kind of restrict you from making money at this point, you know, and we have to stay strong together as a community. I want to thank once again the brothers that came in here today, LA Natives Podcast. I want to thank the community that came today and listened to us live and had comments and was a part of our conversation here. Tlazocamatli, and we'll see you Sunday. Ometeo, Tonansi, Tonatu.